Welcome to the Luminary Journal podcast, a space where deep thoughts become clear paths and your inner light is gently called forward. I'm Sukhvinder Singh, your guide and fellow traveler. This podcast is for overthinkers, empaths, healers, and soul-led creators ready to release fear, reclaim their voice, and lead from their heart. You don't have to have it all figured out to begin. You just have to take the next step.
Welcome to the Luminary Journal podcast, where deep thoughts become clear paths. I'm your host, the Luminary coach Sukhvinder Singh. I'm a heart-led mindset and transformation coach here to support overthinkers, deep feelers, and soulful creators in finding clarity, quieting the noise, and taking aligned steps in life and business. So on this podcast, we explore the space where luminary integration coaching meets spiritual insight, whether you're navigating self-doubt, building a purpose-led business, or simply seeking deeper meaning. This is a place for reflection, courage, and gentle awakening. Today's episode is truly a special one for me. I'm honored to be joined by Azaris Fredriksen, a trailblazer in the field of intuitive coaching and personal transformation in Norway. He is also my teacher from where I got my intuitive coach certification, so it's an honor to have him on this podcast. Azaris is the founder of Norwegian Center of Consciousness, a center dedicated to deep inner work, spiritual awakening, and conscious coaching. With over 20 years of experience, he has guided thousands through his teachings in rapid personal transformation, also shortened to RPT, mindfulness, intuitive development, and emotional healing. With a rich background spanning law, human rights, Reiki, Theta healing, and meditative arts like yoga and Kung Fu, Azaris bridges the seen and the unseen, the analytical and the intuitive with rare clarity and compassion. His programs, including the Intuitive Coach Education and Life Mystery School, offer not just techniques, but profound shifts in how we relate ourselves, others, and consciousness itself. In today's conversation, we explore what it means to awaken your intuitive gifts, heal emotional patterns, and live with deeper trust in the invisible forces that shape our lives. So let's drop in, breathe, settle, and enjoy this heart-expanding conversation with Azaris. So Azaris, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sukhvinder. It's an honor to be here, and thanks for that very nice introduction.
Nice to see you too.
Nice to see you again.
It's my
Also.
honor to have you on this show. So Azaris, as we arrive in this space together, what inner and outer landscape do you feel called to bring forward today?
Well, on that invitation, I feel like, first of all, just here and now, to be present in this moment, to be here and to really feel the body and feel the presence of the being we are, and the universal being that we are, actually, and to honor that in ourselves and each other.
Beautiful.
That comes to me when you say that.
I couldn't expect anything less. So, can you take us back to a pivotal moment in your life when the path of consciousness work and spiritual exploration opened up for you?
Okay. In a sense, just feeling where to start. I would say that my journey started when I was incarnated here, basically. I feel like what I'm doing today with this consciousness work is why I'm incarnated in this body on this planet at this time. So that's the main reason. I wasn't aware of it in that sense in my childhood so much. I think I felt something in the beginning, but I just had a so-called normal childhood where I grew up with a family, doing a lot of sports, and understanding that actually grounded me very well into the body, into the physical reality. And in my 20s, I started opening more in the beginning of my 20s. I think it was, maybe actually when I was 19, 18, 19. It started something, a search, something within. And it's interesting because there was nothing in me that was actually being taught by anyone outside of me that suggested me to go in that direction. It was like no parents, no one around me was spiritual or very religious. So in a sense, there was something pulling me, actually, from my heart or from within, actually, to start searching for something else, something more. And it started going into different religions, and the closest religion was Christianity. So I was starting investigating Christianity first, but then I didn't find what I felt in Christianity. That was not the answer for me, even though I tried, I tried to find it there. And then I was searching and reading and other religions, and I even traveled to Asia because I felt like I was drawn to Asia. I was traveling there to find the answer, and I felt so at home there. But I didn't I felt such at home when I came there, and I find some answers doing yoga, going to meditation retreats, investigating Buddhism and different things like that, doing my first mindfulness course. And I remember it was funny because in the beginning I was not really there, but then I understand now when I look back, it's like I was wondering, I remember we need to be silent for a day. Like, why should we be silent if you have something nice to say? My mind said. I see today that I was not there then. But anyway, that was a long story. But and then especially in the around 1990s, this is when I traveled to Asia and was really searching. I was actually studying law, and I just skipped the studies because something pulled me to Asia. And I went to Thailand and Nepal, especially Nepal was very important for me there. And I found something within, you can say. Of course, I found something, maybe past lives, I'm not sure. It could be past lives there. It felt like that. But of course, what I find is what I have already within. But somehow I almost needed to go there to reconnect to that within. So when I came home later, I had to integrate that, and I changed everything has to change in my life suddenly. I could, but it didn't give me anything with the old people I was accustomed to and being with. So I changed total environment, and in a gap period of time, I had no one, but I wasn't alone. I just felt like it wasn't right until I found some kind of new people, a new environment where it resonated with who I felt I was deeper. And that is the connection within, actually, I started finding. So that was the beginning. And then in 2002, or a little bit earlier, I actually met a very unique human being, which became my girlfriend for five years, I think, which was actually a walk-in, if someone heard about walk-ins. And that also opened more the cosmical part in me. And after that, I have felt like, or that was actually after, but I felt like I wanted to come out with everything I had learned for many years of my own investigation. And then I started teaching and coming out and helping people from this place that I connected to, and from the learning, the mental learning, and also the experience I had on different levels, which we probably will talk more about.
That was a very beautiful description and intro to your life. It's discovering oneself, but more. That's a beautiful description of traveling somewhere and discovering yourself or your higher self, let's say that. So you mentioned that you skipped law. So, and also, like also introduced, you have a unique journey from law, human rights, and meditation to deep spiritual teaching. And how has this dual path shaped your approach, both personal and to your collective transformation?
Well, and people ask me, why don't you practice law? Because I skipped for half a year, I said, but I actually finished the law degree. So I had worked in two different ministries also for a year about. But when people ask me, why don't I work with law? I have to say that, well, it's more strange that I'm a lawyer that I work with this. This is me. This is more who I am. But the other thing is, I did it mostly because people around me, like my parents, said that you had to have work and money and all these things, and I said, okay, well, I try to do this education, but but it didn't feel true to my heart and my being, at least, not at all. So after 3 months of working in the ministries, I almost felt burnout because, and I see that with other people too. If you do things that's not true to yourself, one symptom can be burnout symptoms. Almost like your soul disconnects and say, you don't get more energy now, you need to take another turn, you need to go another way, because the soul wants you maybe to not just follow the mind and the thinking of what you should do, but actually what your heart tells your soul wants you to experience in this lifetime. So how this has influences? Well, the thing is that I have, as I said, I have a grounding from my parents, and also I'm very structured. The law part also helped me there, but I think I'm also structured in the human sense. So that helps me a lot when I'm teaching, to be structured, like in the sense that people need some kind of something to hang things on, to understand things, for the mind to do. Because technique structure are not meant to be a limit or a boundary. It's meant to help you to open up. And when you are open up, you don't need techniques anymore at all. It's just consciousness that we are. You don't need techniques to be consciousness or to use consciousness, but you just learn to focus, basically. So in that sense, the thing about being structured and having also the human sense of understanding how the system works can help also when I do my business, for example, because I'm running my own business. I've done that for 20 years, and that's helpful in the human life. So in that sense, it's helpful. And then it's the balance. Then it's the balance not to be too much in the structure only, but also to have the connection. And that's important, I think, for us to feel fulfilled and to feel what you said, to feel like whole and feel like you're actually honest to yourself also, and do what you truly want.
Being honest to ourselves, that's the most important thing. And I was going to ask you, what advice do you give those caught between these worlds, the analytical and the spiritual? And you answer that by saying that you will sense that your soul is almost drowning if you are in the wrong type of work. So I also am now making a shift in my own life, going from fully to becoming and embodying myself as a coach. So any advice you would give for those who are caught in this left and the societal structure, societal rules, and societal pressure to be a worker contra the following yourself, your heart's desire to work with what matters? What would your advice be to those who are caught in this this trap? I would call trap.
Yeah. First of all, I think it's important to honor and acknowledge the part that think is difficult, because maybe you have a family, you have like children to feed and everything. But I think the main thing that we should ask ourselves is what is most important? Deeply, not from the mind, but really feel it. What is most important in life? And maybe take that question even further.
Wow.
What is life? Actually. Because if you contemplate and feel into those questions, what is truly most important for me and in life, and what is life, then you probably would come to some kind of connection with that the mind thought importance, or I have to do this or how to do that, which is mostly programmed by the society or the parents or everyone around us, from you're small. You have to go to school, you have to work, you have to do this, you have to do that, is actually that it doesn't make you happy, first of all, I think. And it's not really true to you, probably. If it's true to you, fine, then you should do it. If that's really like you feel like you want to be maybe working in that field because you don't know why, maybe it just feels true to you, well, do that. That's fine. But if it doesn't feel true to you, first of all, find out what is truly true to you and what is important in life, and then find out how can I actually go in that direction. And that is what I'm also helping people with in my education. I'm helping people to find tools, first of all, to find this within them. Who am I? Why am I here?
Wow.
This is important questions during my educations also. And I give them tools so they can also change the blockages and the mind patterns and emotional patterns that I don't dare to go the path I want to go, and everything like that, whatever is blocking them. But also the tools to start as a coach or a therapist if they really want to do that.
Beautiful. Because
So,
why am I here? I remember that from the education I took with you in 2016. And from 2016 until a couple of years back, I have been journaling on this question: why am I here? Who am I? So that was a tool I got from you, and the result is now coming out. I'm also like developing, emerging. So thank you for that. So those will also be a good prompts for me to work with my clients in journaling practices. So you have now tapped into tools you use. You are Norway's first teacher for RPT, Rapid Personal Transformation education, right? And for those new to it, how would you describe
yeah.
what RPT does at a deep level?
Okay, so RPT is, as he said, is shortening for rapid personal transformation. For me, it's the best tool for transformational, emotional, and trauma and things, emotional baggage that we have. It's the best tool I've found, basically. It's so well thought through and so well made. And it's made by Simon and Yvette Rose from Australia, basically, back in time. Right now, it's only Simon Rose teaching that. But it's the best tool for if you have like emotional things that block you, maybe as we're talking about, coming out with who you truly want to be. For example, I'm afraid of being in front of audience. I'm afraid of losing contact with my family. I'm afraid of being different. I'm afraid of not being heard or to be heard, whatever. This normally comes from experiences in the past, in our life, basically, this fear. Because if you had not some kind of experience in yourself or inherited by your ancestors, because it could be that also one of your ancestors had some kind of fear or something similar to that, which has been brought forward into your life. So basically, you are reacting today because of something else happening. That's why we call it a reaction. You're acting again. You react. And emotions is normally what we experience then, like not good emotions, negative emotions we call them. So basically, what this does is to really to help you to truly transform them and to find what's behind. And one of the main tools is that normally the problem you have is not the deeper cause. What we do in RPT, we actually de-armor. We take away the problem and see what's more the wound behind there that we are hiding from. Even maybe your fear is actually disguising something even more vulnerable in you. And when you take away that what's behind the symptom, the fear even, and you transform that truly back to where it started in your life or your ancestor life, and you bring up resources instead, because when you take away the negative, you will find out there has been resources that just been blocked by that. So you don't actually do anything, you just take away, and it naturally comes out as from within, basically. And when you take this away, the resources come up, and suddenly it transforms the fear also, and you are in a resource state. Maybe you have a self-love, or you have some kind of inner strength coming up that you didn't have before. And the thing, because I have been working as a therapist for many years also before that, what made me to jump on RPT was that I had never seen such rapid, fast transformation so fast, which they feel in the chair just in front of me. They can feel it there and then. You don't have to check it or hope it's there. You feel it immediately. And if you don't feel it immediately, there's something more blocking in normally. And then you just find out what that is, basically. So that was I feel like it was a long explanation, but it was like what it is. It actually deeply, truly transform emotional baggage and traumas also. And it could be thought patterns that's connected to that also. Truly, instead of having just temporarily bypass of a problem, which is not so unusual. That
Exactly.
people do
I
with
remember
different techniques.
that when we had the education from you, we actually go quite back to our ancestors to clear those traumas, and it's I was a witness to that many of the participants in the course they like found the new resources from those exercises. So yes, it's very powerful RPT. So from your practice as a healer or guide coach, what patterns or blocks do you find most common in people today, and how can they start dissolving them consciously? Not believing.
Well, not believing in themselves is a one. Not believing in themselves that you're not good enough. And here in Scandinavia, at least, there is this thing about being a nice boy or nice girl, which is limiting us so much very often, that I have to be a nice boy and I have to please everyone else so much that you're not allowing yourself to come out, and you should at least not be more special or more important or show yourself. And if you are not able to do that, how should you come out with your potential, your uniqueness? How can your soul come through and shine through if you say that I cannot shine more than others? Okay, you don't have to be more than others, that's fine, you don't have to be ego in it, but at least don't block yourself from coming out with truly who you are. So, and also, so that's very important. And of course, also abuse of different kinds. It could be physical, sexual, emotional abuse, very much blocking people. So I also see that people, that's why I'm teaching both, that people who wants to open spiritually or stay open spiritually very often have blockage in their body-mind, meaning emotional baggage or traumas. From traumas doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be like neglected at school or by your parents at times, or not receiving enough love that you needed. It doesn't have to be the big accidents or the big abuses. It can be smaller things that had just put something in your system, even from a very fetus in in the womb. So yeah, so I forgot the, the line now, but yeah, this is actually a really good tool for transforming this. So this is actually what I use most for my clients, because most people need that. Yeah, I said about being spiritual open, because if you have blockages in your mind body, it very much blocks you connecting to your spirituality and your true self, basically. And how can you be psychic or intuitive? People say, well, maybe you need to work on your blockages or your fear of seeing something unseen, even from your parents or from yourself.
Beautiful that you. I'm
So
happy
yeah,
that you mentioned that you shouldn't be more than others. This is the typical in Scandinavia. This janteloven. It's very ingrained in
yeah,
subconsciously in the culture. So it's quite different from other cultures. Let's say America or other European cultures where you should be more open and also be more receptive. So we have lots of we can learn from those parts, not from the egotistical side, but from like inner opening. So I commend you and thank you for that. You mentioned
mm.
that. So many seek into the guidance but struggle to trust their inner working. What's your approach to help people access and trust their intuitive wisdom? You touched it a little bit, but I would like you to elaborate a little bit more on that.
How people. So the
More,
question is how people can
yes.
trust their intuition more. Is that your question? Okay. Well, first of all, trust it. That's the simple answer. But the thing is that most people don't trust this because they're not sure what intuition is or how it feels or how they can know it's intuition and not only their brain or their mind thinking it. And that's to distinguish that. So you can start, I think you can start just by practicing to feel into things when you're in a situation, you know. So you and connect to your heart. It depends a little bit what you're doing. If you want to feel intuitively what your body needs when you are in the store, ask your body, and maybe not the mind then,
While you're buying
or the heart,
groceries or
maybe
food, you
even.
can just ask your body and see what feel or try to listen to the body. That what you're saying?
Yeah. So
Yes.
I'm just distinguishing a little bit here. When it comes to food, I would ask the body, because the food, for me at least, the food is mainly for the body. It can also be, of course, help the spirit in the body, but the food is basically for the body. So if the body needs something, ask the body if it wants it or not. And if you are in tune with your body, you can do that just actually by feeling your body every day, feeling the body as a practice, going through crop scan, there's body scan, I mean, and feel the body, feel the gut. I put a hand on my gut sometimes. Do my body wants this? And I just feel yes or no. And if it's a no, well, I don't do it. So that's this thing about food. But when it comes to intuition in daily life, for example, in a situation, should I do this or that? What is the thought and what is the emotion and what is the intuition? And that is the mind, the brain, the heart, in your body, and then you have the deeper intuition sometimes also. And how can you know the difference? I have a little how to know the difference between emotion and intuition. One thing I learned through the years is an emotion is very often very strong, very proactive and strong. And intuition is normally not so strong if it's not about your life, maybe. But it's not so strong, but it's more subtle. And it can be overrun by thoughts and emotions very easily. But it will come back.
Whispering.
It's almost like a whisper, a little whisper coming and say, do this. But then the mind said, no, I cannot do this because I need to work and I need to do. And then it's gone again. And then maybe 1 week later or 1 month later, it comes again, do this. And then your heart said, no, I don't feel like it. No, I don't know. And you overrun it again. And then next month it comes again, do this. So that's one way to know over time something that is deeper. And it's because the intuition from, you could say, a deeper part of your being or your soul is not screaming. It's normally just suggesting, you should say, and you feel it deeper. And then you need maybe to practice to be still and to be able to notice this is thoughts, this is emotions, this is something deeper. So then comes, if you want to be better at noticing intuition, maybe find some form of meditation or mindfulness exercise that could help. Just to be in nature and be still. And the most important, the simplest version is to be here and now. And say, I am here and now. What is here? What is now? And just stop the mind, observe the mind, be here now. And feel whatever it is. This is thoughts, this is emotion, this is not who I am. Feel the body, this is the body. And what is deeper? And then you can start feeling more of intuition. And then it's easier when you start finding out the deeper voice within is very often connected to intuition. The deeper voice or feeling is more like a feeling normally. Feeling within is normally intuition. So then you started noticing when you become still enough, you can feel it quicker. And then you can integrate that into your life. You can take that into your life and you are like, how can you quickly be still? Be present, you can also say, here now. So that is maybe something that can help, but it takes a little time. And what I also do through my educations is I'm helping people both with mindfulness, to be present, to find out this deeper, and also to transform blockages, all these emotions that's screaming or everything that is blocking us from actually doing this in practice. Because if you have strong emotional baggage, it will very often scream. It will come and block your intuition. So how can you transform it so it doesn't come back every day? Well, transform it properly, as I said, using RPT or some other techniques also that can be used working with subpersonalities. Yeah, I think it's called, yeah, in English. Yeah, and things like that. It's also what I'm teaching. So, but it could be a process to learn to be still and to trust you. And then, first of all, hearing your intuition, and then it's about trusting it. And you just have to trust, because intuition, very often you don't see the whole picture. It's like, should I do this or that? And then you feel you should do this, but your mind maybe said that, and then you say, why? The mind said, why? You don't see the whole picture. Very often intuition is not seeing the whole picture yet. You will see it when you get there. Then you have to trust, and that's a learning to trust life itself. That life actually works for you, not against you, if you follow the flow within. But if you resist life, maybe from the mind, life wants to take you there, but you want to run the show too much, meaning your ego, your personality more, then very often it's more struggling on the way until the soul gets there in this lifetime or another lifetime.
That was a beautiful description of tuning into the intuition, to distinguish what's the nudges the spiritual realm is giving you, and distinguishing those nudges from what's thought and what's feeling or emotions. So it's something that needs to be practiced every day, like you said, to like be in this and distinguish what's nudging me and what's my programming. So that was beautifully expressed. Thank you. And that was the tools part. Now let's get into what matters to me most in my life and like how I would like to see the world become a better place. In your transformation and coaching training, what qualities do you see as essential for today's heart-led leaders and coaches?
Well, maybe we should start with what I just said. To be connected to your true self and your deeper part of you. Like if to be connected to there before you speak, maybe before you do essential, what do you call vedtak?
Decision.
What's that in English then? Vedtak? Decisions, yeah. Decisions. If you do some kind of very important decision, be connected with yourself and come from more and more from there. And there is one sentence that has come to me, and I also found out that more people are using that for themselves, which I think could actually bring you more in tune with life and make you even more prosperous probably also, but makes you more in tune. And that is, how may I serve? So if leaders could have that as their motive or intention, how may I serve? And then not myself only, but how may I serve life, you could say then. How may I serve the wholeness? How may I serve wholeness? How may I be of service, someone say, and it doesn't mean that you have to be a servant for everyone. Like you have to obey and be lower than. It's actually how can I be a channel for a bigger life? How can I just be a channel, a medium for something bigger than me? And if you open into serving like that, you can be used almost by life. You're not being used, by the way, but it's a way to express it. To come through you and act as you. And then you can help much more. And I have one thing I also felt like for me, if I was a leader, I would have one intention before I take a decision, that, and how may this decision serve the wholeness of everyone involved, not only humans, for example. Because if that was always evolved and thought through before they take decision, you wouldn't have decision that maybe helps some people but not all people, maybe yourself but no one else, or even help humans but not the animals or insects or the nature and all evolved beings, basically. You would say that, okay, this serves humans, but it doesn't serve the planets or the plants because they die of it. Well, then we have to investigate even more, find another solution until we get there. I know that humans are capable of finding the solutions that serves everyone if we are willing. And we see that from experience by just putting money into it. If people make money on what actually serves, they will find the solution very quickly. You know, for example, now I know it's very just people have different opinions about this. So I don't say it's one right or wrong, but for example, having electrical cars was not really investigated. No, they didn't. The technology didn't really blossom until there was much money in it.
Exactly.
Then suddenly we had the solution there very quickly because there was money in it. So the humans have the capacity to find solution that serves everyone if we are just willing. So if the leaders are willing to serve everyone and not only themselves, I think we'll have a very different planet here. And meaning, are you a leader in a small business? How may I serve all my colleagues and the people working under me? And involve yourself, include yourself, not exclude yourself in that. So you are being burned out. Include yourself in that because you are a part of the totality too. But not the small self only, meaning just me and my body and my life. It's something that is beyond your own personality and your small human form that can actually come working through you then. So you're opening yourself to be an instrument basically for something bigger that can work through you. And if you come through you as inspiration, as thoughts, as feelings, as something you just feel a pull to do, we talked about intuition earlier. If you also include how may I serve, you probably will notice that if you then are in tune and you feel you have an intention with serving and you are in tune with your intuition and feeling what comes to you and through you, you will probably notice that your life will flow much more, and you will feel more happy also because you're almost in tune with life itself in the moment. And that brings natural happiness from within because you are life itself basically, that you are in tune with life. So that is being opening to serving. And there is one adding to that I would say, especially with leaders. And how may this decision or everything I do serve the wholeness? If this is the intention in every decision being made on this planet, especially the politicians and the one taking the big decisions, if they could have this intention of how may this serve the wholeness, there will be a very many decisions that will be different. And wholeness means not only me and my group of people, but all humans. And not only humans, but also all animals and insects, and the nature and the planet itself, and all beings basically. On this planet and also other planets. We're going out in cosmos now, and also serving how may we actually serve the wholeness. And I think that, for example, many leaders take decisions that serves maybe humans, but not animals or the nature. And then means that, and I feel like we are able to, as humans, we are able to find the decisions that do serve the wholeness if we are willing to. Meaning that, as we've seen already examples of, if you put money into something, we find a solution very quickly. For example, electrical cars. Before it was not very much investigating and technology was not there until more money come into it, and then suddenly we have the technology very quickly because we're willing now to use our intellect and maybe channeling almost the technology coming through us to be able to actually come out with some technology that does serve the wholeness, even though people are, for example, have different opinions about if they are really healthy for the planet, the electrical cars, but I don't know to go there. But this is just an example. If you put money into it, we have the willingness. But the thing is, if every decision could be made by how may it serve the wholeness, we will find a solution, I am sure. So, and if we can also have then serving as, because if everything serves the wholeness, we will not even do things that damage anyone else. Meaning, you don't go to war with anyone else, basically, if you want to serve everyone, not only yourself. You want to find a solution that harmonizes us and find out what is the problem really, and maybe solve that instead. So that is serving, and serving the wholeness. And there's two other things, at least, I want to say, if that's okay with the timing. Yeah. And that is when it comes into discussions. If you look at politicians, for example, discussing things, most people seems to be mostly want to win the discussion. You know, coming from their personal ego more, like I need to win, and I have to be right, meaning they have to be wrong. And we're not evolving. We're not coming to any solutions on any problem. We're just finding you are right and I'm wrong. And it doesn't really serve the wholeness or anyone. So instead of discussing, maybe the intention in discussions is finding good solutions for everyone. It doesn't have to be my solution. I don't have to be one finding it. And also in that, I think we should be trusting, we come back to that word again, but we're trusting that truth will tolerate daylight. That even though the truth comes out as maybe our solutions was not as good, it's okay. You don't have to be right, because having to be right comes from the personal ego, and then you're not really serving either anything more than yourself, basically. So even though things have been disguised, coming up into light and people seeing the truth is better than disguising it. So don't be afraid of truth. Allow the truth to come out. And truth can be a personal thing. Yes, it can. You mean this and I mean that. But the truth meaning what's factual, what actually happened, and also the deeper truth of life itself, instead of only my opinion. That is something. And just trust that truth is okay. If something happened, you did something wrong, be honest about it. Be totally human also in that sense. But more than that, of course, but be honest. So honesty, truth, and to serving all. And then if you have problems with it, that's the fourth part. If you have problem doing this, or you feel resistance, or you feel activated in a discussion, work on your own stuff, like we all do. You know, if you have triggers, if you are angry, if you are sad about something, that's your own things. Work on it instead of projecting into others and act on it. Because if they make a decision in anger, we have what you see, fighting and wars and everything. Because I'm right and you're wrong.
That was a great answer, Azaris, because the takeaways the takeaways from your answer is maybe we need a better reward system for doing things better for the whole month, and also staying in integrity. Like keep your integrity even if you're wrong, and yes, there was so much in your answer here. That's, I think, the leaders, and also the last part, leaders also need coaches. So that's a great answer. Thank you to that.
Yeah. And I can add one thing to that, as you said something there about reward system. Like, I invite us all to go away from a reward system based on fear and punishment to something rewards that uplift you. A rewards that uplift you, but it doesn't have to uplift you like then you always have to have a carrot to do that, but actually something that enriches life in self, basically, and makes them come out with themselves more. But take away the punishment rewards and the fear-based rewards.
I totally agree. Fear and punishment is not a good leadership models at all. Okay, sorry. Let's move now into the more spiritual and the mystery side of your being. What does spiritual mastery mean to you? Not as a title, but as a lived, embodied experience. You have touched upon it, but I'd like you elaborate more on that. What does that mean? Mastery.
Spiritual mastery. Well, based on your question, I think the very simple answer is truly being who you are. That's a very short answer. Spiritual master, truly being who you truly are. But then is the deeper question to that, but who are we? Comes then as a natural question. And that is a vast question, basically, who we are. And so most humans, maybe not all, but most humans still think that we are basically this human being, this body, and we identify with the body, and very often the mind thinks is who I am, or what you feel is who you are. But as we talked about already, actually, we are something much deeper when it comes to intuition. Who are we? Like, who is actually observing the mind? who is experiencing and who is watching out to your eyes. I invite everyone, if you've never done it, instead of focusing on who is watching what you are looking at, focus on who or what is watching out to your eyes. Who or what is that? And then you might come into a connection with something deeper that doesn't have a thought. You cannot think it. There is something that we are. Okay? And to master spirituality said that who am I? First of all, to get in contact with who we truly are. And then this depth, the depth of who we are, or I am, who I am, is very, very deep. And you cannot contemplate it in the mind. So you have to experience it and feel it. That's one part of it. And from my experience, which I also read and heard other people come to, is that the being that I am is what is. Meaning I am. And all of us are this essence. We're all just embodiments and forms of this oneness that experiences itself as us, through us. And I, as Azaris, is just one embodiment of this. Even my soul is not really personal, even though, but the soul even is some kind of form made of this oneness that experiences itself as us. And as I experience myself, that when I connect to the one watching out of my eyes, and when I look in the eyes of others, you can come to a point where you feel and you experience and understand that the one watching out of the eyes of the others are the same. You watch looking at yourself, basically, at a deeper level, of course. Hi, me. It's like you can experience that. So that is mastering and experiencing and coming from that space more and more and more of your life. Meaning, when I said serving life, means coming from that space and allowing life itself to live you instead of you living life. Almost, you opening yourself to be lived. Almost. And the experience of being lived, you think, oh, do I lose control? No, that's the mind thinking. You don't lose control because you don't have the control. Basically, you just think you have the control. But anyway, that's the discussion there. But the thing is that if you're open to that, you will experience the ecstasy of life itself, of being life. And that is totally freedom, totally love. We're trying to find words, we don't even find it. Totally love, excitement, joy, these words. So that is in everyday life, how to bring into that and coming from there. And then there is bigger aspects of existence, which I also would add to. Meaning that, as I said, this oneness has embodied and made a lot of forms. And the so-called soul that I am experiencing myself as here actually is also divided into many soul aspects in many lifetimes at the same time, here and now. Meaning my being, my soul, has also an aspect being a light being, maybe in another dimension, maybe some kind of being in another body, even on this planet, or on another timeline, you could say. So in that sense, we are multidimensional beings, simultaneously experiencing all of these lives simultaneously. And the entry point to all of this and to experience it is here and now. Because everything exists here and now. There is nothing that is not here now, even though we think so and we experience it as a timeline. But actually everything exists simultaneously. And I have experience of this. And the first time I opened myself as multidimensional was like, I was doing some kind of energy work, as I've done before with the energy on the planet and things like that. It's something I was called to many years ago. And I experienced a being in what I call lightship. This is very cosmic. Working through and with me, with my body here. And a thought come to my mind, and I just like, okay, who is this being working with me through me here? And then I just understood. I got the understanding. It's me. And the me, of course, everything is me in that sense. We are all one. But there was a different understanding this time. This time is another aspect of who I am, another aspect of my soul, you could say, that was actually working through me here. And then suddenly I remembered again, because it's all about remembering basically who we are, not learning it, we're remembering who we are. I remember that, of course, this is just another aspect of me working with myself here. That's pretty cool. First, it's very mind-opening, but it's pretty cool also that I can work myself. And in that sense, we can actually open ourselves to connect to other lives that we do live simultaneously here and now, past and future. It doesn't matter because it's all now, but we call it past and future or other dimensions. And the main thing, why should you do that when you are here? Well, I agree. Don't focus on the other lives. Be here. But the thing is that you can integrate the wisdom, the experiences, everything from other lifetimes into your beingness here. Meaning you reconnect to your wisdom, your intelligence, or whatever you call it, and you can be almost like a channel for more of yourself coming through here. Meaning, that's why when I began today, I said the journey started when I incarnated here. Is the reason why I do this. These things I do is the reason why I'm here. Is also to integrate those aspects into this planet here with the wisdom and the intelligence that comes through also other aspects of my soul aspects, but also maybe even more that I'm not aware of. So, meaning spiritual mastery could be vast, but in very simple as I started with, being here and now, being present with who you are, that's the beginning point, and then you can open up and you can experience more and more, and also seeing through the what I call illusion, but actually the buildup of the existence itself, as I've seen many times. I can just switch and then I see into how everything is built up, the illusion or the buildup of existence itself, which is not very physical at all. But we think so, and we see it. So I see it in that dimension. So that you can open them to a lot more if you're willing to open it, not to be there instead of here, but to integrate it and to actually to allow life to be more whole again and complete, and be more of yourself.
That's like surrendering and just trying and being a vessel for something bigger than yourself. So that's what I take away
Yeah.
from your answer. So that was very, very nice described. And what does fear, resistance, and shadow work? How is that in your work? How would you describe these fears and resistance and shadow works that typically come up when we do inner work?
Well, most people have fears. And as I talked about earlier, working especially with rapid personal transformation, also RPT, it's basically things that's mostly, yeah, it's fear, is resistance, is in the body mind. So how, if it's there, well, then you need to work on the body mind. How you do that in the best way? For me, I use RPT very often. Sometimes I use also something called aspecting and subpersonality work for that. So, meaning the fear is something that just triggers something that happened before, basically, and you need to clear that in the body mind system to actually not be triggered again, in a sense. And it's a very important part for some people are really totally been taken by it, the fear and the resistance also, and it makes them not be able to go into what they truly want, maybe. So it's important part, and shadow work shadow is basically, well, in terms, shadow is something that you don't see normally. It's the dark side, or yourself, or unseen, or an acknowledged part. And basically, I work very much with the same techniques for doing resistance, fear, because and shadow work is something that's not been seen, not been acknowledged, not yeah. So it's something that needs to be worked on mostly with more therapeutic way, like RPT can do. I think. I don't
Yes,
know. Did I answer your
absolutely,
question
absolutely.
there, or?
Shadow work, it's the thing that's unseen by us, but also maybe by others. But it's important to integrate them, like use them as something to where we can use them to bring out the the positive what do you say qualities of yourself, like we do in RPT. It's shadow work. There are fears, but actually they are just hidden gems for you to use in your to integrate in your life. So yes, you have already answered that many times. So repeating, it's good. Um,
Yeah.
let's
And I can also add to that is just that a little bit I can add to that is that if you have something very strong patterns like a fear, remember, like you just said, remember that very often behind those strongest resistances and fear is the biggest diamond. You know, is the biggest things that can come through is behind those. So if you are able to by yourself or get
yeah,
some help from a good therapist or coach or something to really transform those are maybe the most important triggers for getting more resources,
exactly,
as we call it in RPT, but getting more of yourself and connecting more.
absolutely.
So
Thank you. From your experience of integrating like physical movement, like kung fu martial arts, what has this taught you about discipline, presence, and energy flow in daily life?
well, first of all, to be present, you need to be in the body. If you're going to do some kind of really focused sports or something like martial arts, kung fu, as I've done in many years or so, you need to be in the body. Like if you're just doing this, it's a game, just a fight game. And if you're in your mind and thinking of something else, you get
No.
out, you know. So you cannot really do that. You need to be present and be in the moment with
Yeah.
that person just in front of you, you know. If not, it's not gonna work. And maybe it's a metaphor for life. If you're not present, you maybe get
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
hit here and there, you know.
Being
So
present. Yeah.
to be present. So that is something that really helps to be present and be in the body. And also when it comes to the deeper part and being connected and grounded in that sense, but also like Tai Chi and Qigong is really good also for the energy flow or the system in the body and the energy bodies to flow more, and that will feel good, but it also makes you more healthy basically. So, and I also do sports for because I think it's fun, but also for taking care of my body. This is the vehicle for my soul, and if my soul's going to do its work here, I need to take care of it
Yeah.
basically. So and give it like nutrition and yeah, doing sports or moving the body because it's meant to move.
Oh.
So and it feels good.
Do you, so Azaris, do you use sound healing, or any other form in your like work as a doorway to consciousness?
I actually do. Not all the time, but it depends on what kind of work I do. Um, First of all, I could say that sound itself, if you're just using your own voice, like toning, can be a really uh, quick way to quiet the mind and to be present also in the body. So one of my guided tools or methods for just being still in one of my mindfulness courses is actually using your own voice, basically, to be present. And for me, personally, I think when I using some kind of sound meditation, like going through each chakra with different sounds, it just totally makes me peaceful and totally still and no thoughts. It's amazing how powerful that is actually. So I just found that is really powerful using your own voice, vibration of your voice and toning. Just it doesn't have to be anything special. You don't have to go through chakras or something. You can just use ah or ooh or whatever, but it helps just the focus and maybe it even works more on the chakras and the energy bodies. But it's really powerful in that sense. But I also use sound sometimes on energy work on others. And actually, it started with my, as I talked a little bit earlier, when I was working on energy work on the planet with the grid line system and everything, this more cosmic part, something opened up in me to actually toning. So it helps anchor into the planet. I felt like it helped anchor the energy work I did. And I did it for several years and didn't share this with anyone the first years. I thought this was just something strange I did with the ex-girlfriend I had then. And but then it took some years, and then I started just getting that this could also be maybe used on humans. Actually, the toning and the energy work I did. So I started testing that and finding out that actually when I also use toning my own voice with different frequencies or tones on different things, it could be like just emotional things sitting there or trauma things or just energy blockages. I experience, and most clients also experience, it helps it dissolve or release and also to balance things. So actually, I do use that sometimes when I use energy healing work. I don't use that all the time. It depends on what the client needs. Uh, but I also use then toning and balancing, and even light language is something I have opened up to those many years back, and which actually can activate and open
Interesting.
things. So yeah.
So, you've been running a business for a very long time, and what's been the hardest lesson that you learned running a center like Norsk Center for Bevissthet or Norwegian Center for Consciousness?
The hardest lesson running a business. Um, Actually, it's a tricky question. I don't know why, but for me, me personally, I felt like when I started coming out with my work in 2005, it was almost overdue. So I felt that I'd been pushed or pulled for some years to come out, and when I did, it was a very good response from people. So it just started and it jumped off, and since then it's been running pretty smoothly in that sense. And I think one of the main reasons for this is that what I did was true to my being, to my soul. It was something I was supposed to do. And also, of course, what I did was attuned with what people were open to at that time when I came out. Um, at that time, I started with theta healing, and it was something I did then, but I've expanded much more now, and I don't teach only that and do that, but I take with me parts from that. But anyway, so what's the hardest lesson? Right now, I could say the last few years is about being that people know about me and being heard because it's so much. There is so much information to people today. So I think many people don't know I'm here, that I exist and the work I do. So to see and hear me. So maybe the one listening to this is the first time you hear about me. So maybe you help in that sense to spread more consciousness in that sense. And it's not that I have to reach all of them. It's more about how can they know, and the ones who's right can maybe
Of course, I
benefit
will
from this,
do everything
basically.
what I can, because
Yeah.
this is my purpose in being here on Earth, is to get everyone who is working towards a betterment for a better world spiritually. Because my teaching from Sikhism is telling me that this is my way of doing, helping everyone, all the empaths, the healers, the coaches, anyone who help other people to lift them up and be in their light. So, of course, this is my way of contributing to that realm of life. Absolutely,
The more we are, the better in that
absolutely,
sense, as
absolutely.
long as we don't hurt ourselves.
What misunderstandings do people often have about spiritual teachers? How is there a bias that people has to spiritual teachers? What's your take on that?
Well, ask them. I don't know. I'm probably one of them. But uh,
Yeah.
what prejudices and things like that, you mean? Uh, it could be that we are less human or something. That's we are just high fly. We're not really grounded, and we're not really practical. And it's just something that's, well, it's nice to know, but it's nothing to do with my daily life. It could be something. I'm not sure that people think it's not practical. So, but I find that, and I always try to make it practical in that sense, to give tools, to give methods that actually helps with specific things. So I'm very result oriented also when I do my therapies or help people. And yeah,
Just
so so I don't know what everyone else thinks, and in a sense,
just
yeah,
wanted to
I don't
hear
know.
what like your ideas could be about how people view, like people who say, "Oh, you're so woo woo, you're so out there, you're not grounded in reality." You just said that, so that's also my own interpretation, that people who maybe are not in touch with themselves, but they are very like into this structure of the society, how it should, everything's supposed to be, and the ones who are following a more spiritual path, they don't fit into that mold, and it's okay to not fit into that mold. I mean, everyone has to do their work uh, as they have been created. And if we who are walking this path don't listen to our own inner self, then nobody else will.
Yeah, no one else will. And also, I think it's
Yeah.
about making it normalizing things. For me, this spiritual connection, that the spiritual realms, the cosmic part, including the physical body and body things, all is normal. It's how things are set up in the life. So for me, it's very natural. So I think also about normalizing things. It's nothing like really strange and woo, and like should be something that is just with a very strange
Yeah.
music. And like, no, it's normal. It's life. Basically, it's part of life. Everything is part of life, and to make it natural for people. And it's nothing that has to be hidden or something just small groups can do. But I cannot do it, because what I'm also teaching people and helping people with is to find this in themselves, not what I am, but what is in them. Because like intuitive, we all are natural intuitive. That's our natural state. It's all about if we have not used it or we have blocked it, basically. So if you are sensing what other people do feel around you, well, you're naturally intuitive.
Exactly.
That's your
Exactly.
natural state. It's your being. That is, there's nothing. It's nothing. I have to develop my psychic senses. Well, you can open up, you can reconnect to them, but you are it already, in a sense.
If you could go back to your younger self starting this journey, what would you whisper into his ear?
The first thing that comes to my mind is that continue what you're
Because you
doing.
were on that path at very young age, right?
I think so. So I feel like I have walked the path in like mainly, at least, not everything, but mainly I walked the path that probably I was supposed to. Yeah. So that's why I feel just walk the path.
Great.
Yeah.
So
And
dare to dream big.
dare to dream bigger, also like because I think a part of me, I'm also taking a little bit by janteloven, which is not coming too much out. So my personality is a little bit not, I'm not that out there so much, and that's okay, but that means also it's not so many
You
people hear about me.
you you
uh
can do sales without being salesy, right? You can be just like being there, putting yourself out there, just being natural. It's not asking for sale, but just presenting yourself. I mean, that's a way also. So you don't, my approach is also like this. I when I try to be too salesy, I become fake in my own eyes and my own ears. It's not, I can hear immediately that something's not right. So, but just being who I am and talking, that works better. And I feel you're the same.
yeah, and it's not
Helping,
about
yeah.
selling, actually, it's about helping and being as you said earlier, being honest, helping, and being your true being, and being on true to
Yeah.
yourself, and flow from there. Because selling money, this is just a human thing. Like, one proof that I had enough is
That's
that I'm
proof
still here.
enough. I mean, what you said earlier, how may I serve? Not just leaders, also us as business owners, how may I serve? And I mean, go from there and just embody that. Beautiful. Okay, I have some closing, quick fire soul reflections questions for you. Um, can you share a book, a poem, or a teaching that you return to again and again?
I like very much Needle and Walsh books, like Conversation with God. If no one has heard about him, start with book number one, Conversation with God, because that's the first 100 pages or something, sums up very much what he's going to go deeper into. But I like them very much when it comes to understanding, meaning like you also like from a mental perspective, because it takes the mental concepts very much and understands and then go deeper into it. If you want more connected to here and now, and to just the
Eckhart
power
Tolle,
of now,
yes.
basically, then you have Eckhart Tolle, for example, like Eckhart Tolle, the power of now, and the new earth. And in that sense also, I remember like the new earth, I think especially, is very good if you want to work on your own ego. So, like,
So
not been
great
taken by that.
resources to look into. I have read both of them, so yeah, I have inspiration from them both. So if you could leave listeners with one question to sit with after this conversation, what would it be?
Well, who am I? Why am I here?
Good one. That's a good journaling prompt, like self-reflection and self-inquiry. Those two questions. And finally, if consciousness had a voice right now, what message do you feel it would want to share with us this moment of history?
If consciousness had a voice,
Yeah. What
that's what you
message?
said. Then you're asking for a channeling.
Please.
Okay. Sometimes it just comes through, and you almost like you opened it up. So
Absolutely.
if that's okay for
Absolutely.
your podcast. Greetings, human beings on this planet. We are very pleased to be part of your existence, as part of your beingness. As you said so many times before, we're not separated from you. We are part of you, meaning your beingness is a part of our beingness. We are one in our essence, even though you don't experience and feel it in every present moment. So as already been talked about in this what you call podcast, being true to yourself, meaning also deeply, deeply feeling the presence of your beingness, where you will feel what we call us, meaning the grander version of who you are. We are you, you are us. We are not separate. We are one in our essence, even though we take different forms. So remembering your true self, meaning deeper, remembering who you truly are, in essence, not in form itself. You take a form, you have a form, like you sit in a vehicle, but you're experiencing through the form as you. So we have invited humans through centuries and generations to investigate and to experience themselves. And remember oneness between all of you, all of us. And as you said, Amen, Om Shanti, feel it in your heart. You are it. You are what you've been looking for. You have so many messages, and they continue to come in many forms. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that message with us. It's really powerful to witness this. So thank you so much for contributing to this podcast, Azaris. And if someone wanted to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch? We'll, of course, leave some descriptions in the descriptions, some information about how they can get in touch. But in your own words, how can they get in touch with you?
So if this resonated with you, you can find me, of course, on social media. You see my name below here, Azaris Fredriksen, on Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter. I'm mostly on Facebook, maybe Instagram, but I also have a profile on the places, or my webpage. It's just in Norwegian still, though, senterforbevissthet.no. It's centerforconsciousness.no in English, though, but still in Norwegian.
We will.
But there a link underneath, I guess. And feel free to contact me if you resonate with this, or maybe want
Great
to
stuff.
more yourself.
Thank you so much, Azaris, for your time. I enjoyed this podcast very much, and getting a glimpse of your teachings, your spirituality, and your vision for a better world. And you shared openly, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for what
Thank
you do
you.
and being on your path.
Thank you for sharing this space with me. If this episode stirred something in you, take a moment to reflect or journal on it. You can continue this journey at the Luminary Coach Substack, or explore coaching at paperbell.me/luminarycoach. Remember, You don't have to rush or be perfect. Stay connected to your truth, one step at a time. Keep tending to your light. The world needs it. And now the legal stuff. The Luminary Journal podcast is for educational and inspirational purposes only. This podcast does not offer medical, psychological, or financial advice and is not a substitute for professional support. I speak from personal experience and share tools that have supported me and my clients on the path of healing, growth, and soul LED leadership. Always trust your own wisdom and seek appropriate professional care when needed. Remember, you are the expert of your own journey.